here at UNR, direct learning is an experience where you can get hands-on learning experience. So psychology is great for many things. It's a very broad area, but we want you to have hands-on research experience, especially if you're planning on going into graduate programs, specifically PhD level programs. They're pretty much going to require that you have research experience at that point. It also gives you an overview of whether or not you would like to do research at some point later on. So direct learning is a research-related experience where you can work in a lab. You also get experience with advisors and professors who can talk to you about psychology-related topics, graduate school, etc. You get experience with graduate students, you get experience with other students, undergraduate students. So it's really just a great hands-on experience. You can also do direct learning and teaching experience. So if you're a little bit more inclined to do teaching later on, you could work as a teaching assistant working directly with a professor to figure out how to teach and what goes into teaching and things like that. So either of those experiences count as direct learning. Yeah, so when to start direct learning is a great question. We want to get you into a research lab pretty early on in your career so that you can have as much experience as possible, especially if you're applying to graduate schools. You want that experience early enough to go onto your applications and to get letters of recommendation and things like that. So we recommend you start thinking about direct learning during your sophomore year as much as possible and trying to get in either that second semester sophomore year or most likely your junior year. Especially if you're thinking of going into clinical psychology programs, those programs require a lot of research experience because they're just really competitive. And so having your junior year and potentially also your senior year with research experience is just gonna make your application stand out really well. The other thing we want to avoid is having you go into your senior year where research labs might be difficult to get into at that point because they tend to fill up about a semester prior to when you want to get into it. And we need to start thinking about it pretty early in that sophomore year so we can make sure we get you in during your junior year. Yeah, so how to get into direct learning is the biggest question. It's the question everybody wants to know. So getting into direct learning is really about reaching out to professors. So if you want hands-on research experience, if you want direct learning experience, you have to go and get it. And so what you do is you can do one of two ways. If you have professors that you've taken courses with and they've talked about their research, because undoubtedly we all do. So if they've talked about their research, then what you really want to do is just reach out to them, either however you normally communicate with them, before or after class, through email, whatever feels comfortable to you, and just let them know that you're interested in their research and potentially want to be in their research lab. Now, if you haven't taken a lot of psychology courses yet, or you haven't had a professor that you really wanted to work with, what you can do is you can go to the website of faculty webpage. Okay, so here at UNR, we have behavior analysis, which is looking at several different things. That could be organizational behavior management, so how improving interactions within an organization, or experimental analysis of choice, so how we make decisions, or service delivery for individuals with autism or other neurodevelopmental disorders. We have clinical psychology, which is working with clinical topics, so stress, PTSD, fear responses, etc. We have social psych, which is in our department is psych and law, so that's dealing with legal topics. So eyewitness testimony, jury selection, and so forth. We also have cognitive and brain sciences, which is dealing with neuroscience related topics, specifically like perception, memory, really cool things like that, using EEGs, fMRIs, cool stuff. In other departments elsewhere, there will be tons of different topics that you can explore, but now you filter by those, or you just look at everybody if you're not sure what research you're interested in. And then in that faculty page, it'll show you what their research topics are and their research interests. It'll also show you titles of publications, so you can look at those titles and think to yourself, does this sound like a project that I would like to work on or would like to be a part of? And then find 2 to 3 professors that are doing research that you're interested in. At that point, you really just reach out to them. And this can be an email, and I recommend this email to be professional, so like a short cover letter. And I recommend 3 things in this email. So the first thing is to include a summary of their research, letting them know you know who they are, you know what their research is, you're interested. Second thing is why you're interested in that topic. That shows that you're motivated, that you're interested, and that you want to be there. And then 3 is just what I call the call to action, is asking, could I meet with you to talk about your lab? So this is short and sweet. It could be something as simple as, dear Dr. So-and-so, I noticed that you do research on PTSD. I'm looking into going into clinical psychology. I think PTSD is a really important topic that I can use in the future, and I'm wondering if I could meet with you to talk about your lab. So short, sweet, matching your interests to theirs, just letting them know. And then at that point, each professor has their own way of going about how to gather research assistants, but they'll reach out and they'll let you know what that process is.